All right, welcome back to the podcast. My friend Donald Burns is back once again, joining
Woo-hoo!
me. He has his Restaurant Success Summit coming up. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a topic that I get asked a ton that I know nothing about, but Donald knows tons about, which is hiring people and finding employees. So welcome, Donald, to the podcast.
Hello, Bruce, man. It's great to be here. How
It's
are you today?
fantastic. Man, I'm fantastic. I'm a little jealous that you live in Arizona and I live in Boston, even though it's nice here.
Right now it's nice in
ending
Boston.
soon. Yeah, summer is ending real soon. I'm getting a little antsy.
Yeah, that's the only thing about, I lived in Boston for 5 years, and man, you love summer. Summers in Boston have to be the greatest thing in the world. And then it all goes downhill.
It is
and then
true.
You got the nor'easters coming in the winter. It sucks.
It is true. So I get asked to speak a little bit, and every time someone asks me to speak in June, July, and August, my answer is immediately no.
No.
Because I'm not going anywhere. Is this like the only 3 months it's nice here? I ain't leaving.
That's exactly right, man. Yeah,
but
I would not leave either.
You're having an event coming up in August. It's called the Restaurant Success
October.
See, my brain is focused on
you wouldn't
August.
leave. It was August. You wouldn't leave. You told me no.
That's true. I would have said no. I was
you
sorry.
Told me no. I said sorry, Donald. I like you, dude, but I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving my home in August.
Not in August, but October I am, because you're in Arizona. It's going to be nice there. So tell us a little bit about that. And then we're going to get into hiring too, because that's a subject you're an expert on and I'm not. So I have some questions for you. But let's talk about your Restaurant Success Summit first.
So the Restaurant Success Summit is an annual summit. It's usually an event I hold for my group, Restaurant Masterminds, my mastermind group. I'm like you, I have a mastermind group. And so every fall, and we didn't do it last year because, of course, the big COVID. Right. But this year we're back again. We did it in 2019. We missed last year. We're back this year. Restaurant Success Summit, October 25th, 26th, 27th in Scottsdale, Arizona. I call it an immersion event. It's 3 days, 18 workshops. There's going to be 6 speakers total, including you, myself. We got Zach Oates. I got Kelly Jones from Kelly Jones Hospitality. We got Ava Ballaran, a strategist. She's flying in all the way from Barcelona, Spain to fly into this event. We got Zach Oates speaking too. And then Bo Bryant. Bo is a really good friend of mine and a fellow consultant. He is just a genius at strategy and menu engineering and stuff like that. He's going to be speaking there. It goes again all 3 days, and I keep the workshops tight. So it's like from 9 o'clock to like 6 every day. We stop for lunch. That's it.
Nice. So nonstop, but it's like hands-on. It's not like it's going to be hundreds of attendees and like it's just
no. It's very small. I like to keep my events small and very intimate. So you get some one-on-one time with the experts. You get to sit down. We all have lunch together. We go out. We have dinner together. I'm only limited it to 50 people max. That's it. When it's sold out. And I tell you right now, when I did this the first year, sold out pretty fast. So I would not wait. If you want a ticket, jump on there, go to the website, grab a ticket because it will sell out quick.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? We'll make a link. We'll do like smartpizzamarketing.com/Donald.
Donald. There you go.
So if you're listening to the podcast, smartpizzamarketing.com/Donald, make it easy. Go sign up and you can grab a ticket and we'll see you in October in Arizona.
And if you go to the website or restaurantsuccesssummit.com, you can see the agenda. You can see all the bios of all the speakers. It's a real, interactive kind of thing. You can download the brochure for the event. It's a nice thing. Again, everyone who's come, the first one, they loved it. I got rave reviews from everybody. And then I've been getting, constant requests. When are you going to do it again? When are you going to do it again? And then, of course, last year, no go.
Right. Yeah. You know what? You're always a top performer at our virtual pizza summit. You've been a guest speaker there virtually. We do twice a year. And your sessions are always highly recommended and come highly. People love them because you do share a ton of value, which we're going to get into today about hiring, because that's a topic that you talk about a lot. You help a lot of restaurant owners figure that thing out. I am not an expert at that, even though people ask me all the time. It's not something that I'm an expert at. Even when I was operating, I always struggled with that. It wasn't my area of expertise.
Well, hiring to me, and I'm gonna kind of give a generalization here. I think a lot of the problems we're having with hiring, we've done it to ourselves as an industry overall. The restaurant industry has become basically, and you've seen them out there. You've seen those memes all the time about, we treat people like shit. We're going to work you long hours. You're going to be eating out of a deli cup over a garbage can. You're never going to see your family.
It sounded like my first 10 years in the restaurant business.
Yeah, it's pretty much. But, we've done this to ourselves. We've made the restaurant industry not seem like a very viable kind of career move, unless you're really, really desperate for a job.
Right. It seems like that's the way we look at it nowadays, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like the bottom of the barrel for jobs.
Bottom of the barrel, right? So how do we fix that? Well, number one, we should treat people a little bit better.
Yeah.
We should actually kind of show the good side of our restaurants, not the funny meme side that we think is very humorous. But, and here's the thing, and you've seen it too, and you're really big on marketing. You go to anybody's social media page right now. What's 90% of their post? Food.
Right.
Yeah. They ever show their people, ever show their culture, ever show people having fun, ever show people really enjoying what they're doing?
Not usually.
Not usually.
Is that because it's not? Is that because there's no one enjoying what they're doing?
No, I just think that they don't look for that. They think it's all about the food.
Yeah.
But it's all about people. And I think if you market just as much about your guest experience, if you market just as crazy about your team experience, you'll start seeing that people start gravitating to you as like, that looks like a kind of cool place to work. They look different than the other restaurants. Because I'm telling you right now, and you know this in marketing, if you don't tell me why you're different, I assume you're like everybody else.
Yeah, especially if it's like a similar style restaurant. Like obviously you're on the Smart Pizza Marketing Podcast. We talk a lot about pizza. So people think all pizzerias are the same if you're not in the industry.
Right. Yeah. But if you don't tell me what's the different types of pizzas, there's different types of ovens, different types of ingredients. I mean, there's tons of variables that make your restaurant, your pizza place especially, make it very, very unique. If you don't tell me your kind of unfair advantage, then I just think you're like every other pizza place.
Right. Now, there's obviously a shift. When did the shift happen from it being an employer market to an employee market?
Well, the shift happened when COVID hit, because everything shut down and people didn't have work.
Right.
And then they also got, they got some stimulus money. They got some, kind of nice little bonus checks for staying at home for a while. And then it just kind of became this thing. Do I really want to go back to that kind of abuse? Do I really want to go back and be called a donkey every day and called an idiot? Or do I need to look maybe at a different viable career option? And that's what happened is we lost a lot of people's enthusiasm because, and like I said, we did it to ourselves because we treated people like they were just, a line item on a P&L.
Yeah. Like you could find, and I was guilty of this too. I think I was guilty a little bit of this when I was operating 20 years ago. I've operated less than 20 years ago, but like when I first started and first got into the business, it's like, that's the culture you grew up in. And I'm not saying it's okay because it isn't. Obviously now looking back on it as I get older and wiser, it was really wrong. But when you grow up, like in your family, right? Like if you grow up in an Italian household, you're used to certain customs and you pass those on to your children. Exactly. So it's hard to grow out of those when you're ingrained in something in your business and you've been doing it that way. It's hard to get out of your own way and change. And I think a lot of restaurant owners are having that problem now. They're having a hard time adjusting to that new way of thinking and the new way that the employee pool thinks, which is the most important thing you got to think about.
And here's the thing about habits and behavior. They're all learned. I mean, it's learned behavior, but the beautiful thing about that is it could be unlearned and then you can relearn.
Right.
If it's a big if you really want to, hey, if you're happy struggling, you're happy trying to, scrape the barrel and trying to find people to work, and anybody who comes in that's even breathing and has a heartbeat, you're like, oh my God, you're hired. If you like that kind of mindset and that never ending kind of Groundhog Day loop you're in, and just keep doing that same bullshit you're doing now. But if you want something different, you got to start acting different. You got to start thinking different.
So I'm on your email list, and where can people go to hop on your email list? Because you always send out great emails.
Oh, just Donald@therestaurantcoach.com. Just go to my website, therestaurantcoach.com, and just jump in there.
Okay, so you recently sent out an email that says having trouble getting staff to follow checklists, and then you sent out an email, and there's a strategy session on there. So if you want to, hop on a call with Donald Burns, you can probably go there, sign up for a 45-minute strategy session. What's the number one questions people ask you on those strategy sessions?
Oh, no. Well, the number one question people is that's one of them. Like, how do I get my staff to follow my checklist? How do I find better talent? And I'll ask them, and invariably I'll ask them, what are you doing right now? And here's the thing, when most people are looking for, especially for help, I say, well, they're putting up job ads and they're posting job ads on Facebook or Indeed. And I say right now, I tell you, placing job ads is the most stupidest thing you can do. Stupidest thing you can do.
It's like a waste of money.
It's a total waste of money. You know why? Because it's passive. It's like I'm putting out a piece of bait in the ocean. I'm hoping I'm gonna get a really, really nice, big, huge fish. I'm putting out a little piece of bait in an ocean, and then I'm hoping I get something. Hope is not a strategy. The best thing you can do is actively recruiting. And by recruiting is I mean taking the bull by the horns and actually going out there looking. Indeed has a couple of things. You can post jobs on Indeed like normal, or you can get a subscription. And this is what I tell people. It's $100 a month for a subscription. When I get a subscription, I get 30 contacts. Now I go into Indeed. Let's just say like I'm in your market. I'm looking for a line cook, prep cook. I put line cook, prep cook, Boston, Mass. And then a couple thousand people pop up on Indeed. Now I can actively kind of scroll through. I can pre-screen the ones I like, all right. Now that person jumps around. That person worked at a couple, healthcare places. That's not my, my kind of person. But I find a couple people I like, and then I basically just reach out to them. And I have 30 contacts a month on a $100 thing. And here's the thing: I'm telling you, when you actively search for people, now you're just think about this. You're applying to me, right? I put a job out. Now you're applying to me, and you kind of feel like, where's the power thing at? Is that if I put a job ad out and you apply to me, where's the power at? It's on my end, right?
Yeah. Well, today it is. Yeah.
Right. But if I actively reach out to you and say, hey, Bruce, I saw your resume on Indeed. Man, you look like you got a lot of skill. I'm adding to my culinary team here in Boston. Man, I'd love to have 15, 20 minutes to talk to you. Would you be up for it? Now, where's the power struggle? Now I'm back on your end. Now I'm looking at you as, wow, he liked my resume. He thinks I look pretty good. See, you got to think about the dynamics of behavior.
That would immediately make me think differently of that business.
Totally make you think differently. And that's where the dynamics switch. Instead of us saying, come work for me, now it's like, hey, Bruce, man, you got a pretty cool resume. And you look like you've been around the place. I'd love to talk to you for just 20 minutes, man.
Yeah. It's also too, like they put the ad out there. It's like usually the restaurant ads go like, hey, it's nights and weekends. Can you work long hours? Are you quick on your feet? Do you mind working holidays? Yeah, no shit. Like that's a restaurant business. We know that. You don't need to put that in your ad.
No shit. And here's the thing too. I wrote a whole new job ad template for people in my mastermind group and my coaching programs, because again, job ads are the most worthless things because everyone does the same thing. Now hiring all positions. Will pay $15 an hour. It's like you're focused on the wrong things. You want to focus on the things that attract people. And what's the number one thing everyone's always tuned into? What radio station? WIIFM. What's in it for me, right? Yeah. So if you right away, if you say like now hiring all positions, that's the most important thing. Well, you say, hey, do you love pizza as much as we do? You love
of course I do. You're talking to me.
Yeah, man. You love pizza as much as hey, do you love pizza as much as we do? Do you love working with a high energy team? Do you love making stuff from scratch? Do you love taking pride in your work? Hey, all right, now you're talking to me a little bit. And then I say, make it about them. Hey, man, I got these kind of perks. We offer, flexible hours. I get employee discounts. I'm going to give you this and this. We do tip sharing. Now I make it all about you. And then I finally say, hey, Smart Pizza Marketing is a local pizza place, and we've been around for the last 20 years in Boston. But they always start out with themselves first. Join our award-winning team at our Boston location. We are the number one. Who gives a shit? Really, you're going to start off right about you.
It's like, we always talk about that in marketing terms, right? You got to stop the scroll. Like what makes someone stop and actually read the post and be interested in it? You got to make it different.
You got to make it about them.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. How many times you've been to a restaurant and the first thing the server does walks up and goes, hi, I'm Donald. I'll be taking care of you. I give no shits who you are. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. I give no shit who you are yet.
Right. Not until you like, yeah, exactly.
Bring me some food. And then, by the way, hey, Bruce, here's that IPA that you wanted, oh, by the way, my name's Donald and I'll be taking care of you. Now you brought me something. Now I'm like, hey, cool, man. Donald seems pretty cool. He brought me a beer.
You should even say that. I think wait staff should say that. Be like, you know what? Usually I start off this conversation by telling you who I am, but you don't care. Let me just get you drinks and then we'll get
you some drinks. Then we'll get going. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be like immediately make you look different. Transparent approach right away. It's like, hey man, I'm not gonna give you the bullshit of who I am.
If somebody said that to me,
and thirsty,
their tip automatically goes up higher because they just started that way.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
But see, if you take the focus off you and put it on who you're actually trying to entice, your marketing marketing and searching for job ads is the same thing.
Yeah.
When you post the same boring shit about your food all the time, you're just basically inundating people with the same stuff. I mean, how many pizza places are there in the world? Honestly,
thousands, hundreds of thousands,
hundreds of thousands. I mean, and I know, like, you're following your scroll, you probably follow thousands of pizza places.
Oh yeah, and
pizza. Oh, a person. Pizza, a person. You know what I mean? I mean, flip the dynamic. Put as much emphasis on your team and your culture as you do about your food.
Yes.
Make it more about the team experience, just as much about the guest experience. I'm telling you right now, you will start standing out in the market and you will become the employer of choice. When you become the employer of choice, people actually start looking at you as, wow, you know what? I'm going to go down and talk to Bruce. He seems pretty cool.
And there's a lot of people, like, everybody's like, oh, nobody wants to work. But
no.
I mean, I know people are closing down a day or two because they don't have a lot of staff, but there's people working at every restaurant, every pizzeria, every coffee shop. There's employees.
Exactly.
They may not be full, but there's employees at every single one of them. Why are they choosing to work at that place instead of you?
Right. That's what the number one thing people say. People say to me all the time, people don't want to work. I go, that's bullshit. They don't want to work for you.
Right.
That's what it is. Now, when you accept the reality of that, whoa, damn, you know, maybe this is on me. Maybe I have not been a really good leader. Maybe I've not really developed a culture that people want to really work at. Here's the simplest thing you can do. Everyone who's listening to this podcast today, if you want a pizzeria, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go around to your team today and just randomly, just off the cuff, and do it kind of individually. Just ask them one question. Hey, why do you work here? There's two answers you get. I have to, or I want to. If you have more I have to's than I want to's, you have a toxic culture. If I have more I want to work here, I love it here, it's a great place. If I have more I want to's than I have to's, you've got a positive culture.
Let me ask you a question. How long, so maybe you do look yourself in the mirror and realize, shit, I've been a really bad boss.
I've been a jerk.
There's a lot of have to's here. How long does it take to turn it around?
All right. Honestly, if you want to fix your culture, however long your culture's been running amok, it takes half that time to correct course and probably another 3 or 4 months to get you going in the right direction. So let's say it's been a year and you've just kind of your hands off the wheel. Team's been out, it's out of control. It's like the wild, wild west. So, and people come like, oh, I want you to turn my culture around in 30 days. That ain't going to happen, man. If your restaurant's been running amok for a year, it's going to take me 6 months just to get you kind of back to normal. And then probably another 3 months to get you going in the right direction.
Is that because you got to fix the people who currently work there before you can let new people
I got to fix the owner is the main one. That's the hardest one.
True.
Fix the owner first. I got to fix your thinking and fix your mindset. All business problems are people problems.
You say that. I hear you say that all the time.
Yeah. All business problems are people problems. I'm telling you right now. You can't mess up your culture and expect a quick turnaround. Probably the hardest thing for me to do is to fix culture.
It takes way longer than people think to or want to invest in the time.
It's the hardest thing to fix is to fix culture. I can, I can fix systems I can fix in a heartbeat. Menus, I can update menus. I can fix menu pricing. I can fix menu design. Quick.
Even recipes, right? Even the recipes you can fix pretty quick.
I mean, I can fix all the stuff. Remember, I always say there's a 3P framework. It's people, product, process. Most people focus on the product, their menu. And then they realize, oh, I need some processes in place. I need some checklists. I need some recipes. But the last thing they think about is the people part. People feed the process and process feeds the people. Without the right processes in place, the people are kind of lost. And that's where, people come in and I say, this is where people say, hey, Donald, man, I can't get my team to follow the checklist. And I'll say, well, what's wrong with your checklist? Oh, nothing's wrong with the checklist. It's a good checklist. In fact, dude, you gave me the checklist. I say, okay, well, then look at the 3P model. If it's not the process, it goes back to the people part. Number one, you didn't train them properly. You didn't tell them how important the checklist was. And we do this all the time. I tell you, like, Bruce, you work for me. And I tell you, Bruce, man, it's your first day. Hey, the most important thing you do tonight is do the closing checklist. You got to do the closing checklist. Closing checklist. I give you the checklist. You're all excited. First day, you go around, you do all the closing checklists. You come to me, hey, Donald, man, I'm all done. I did the checklist. And I go, hey, thanks, Bruce. And I don't inspect it or check it or give you positive feedback. Now I just told you this thing was the most important thing in the world. You put your heart into it, and now you give it to me looking for some feedback. And I say, hey, man, thanks, man. How do you feel?
I feel like that wasn't that important.
It wasn't that important, right? So how likely are you to put your heart into it next time?
Very small chance.
Very small, right? And that's usually what happens. You have to inspect what you expect. We do this all the time. We tell people it's really, really important, and then we don't really act like it. It doesn't matter what your words are. It's your actions that really dictate if you're a great leader or a shit leader. Okay.
I'm going to share, you know what you just said, I'm going to cut that clip out and I'm going to share that with my daughter because she recently, well, they've been working at this ice cream place near me for like 2 years now. And they become like supervisors. And she came to me the other day and she was like, Dad, the new people don't follow the checklist. And I was kind of like, you know what? Are you making sure you tell them that it's important? She's like, yeah, but I wasn't doing what you were doing. Is like, you know what? You're right. If you show enthusiasm and excitement for them doing it great, it's going to make them want to do it better the next time. I'm going to totally tell her that.
Yeah, you got to like inspect. People want praise.
Yeah.
The number one need everyone has is a need to be appreciated. And I tell you right now, again, this is how restaurants have killed it. I ask restaurant owners this all the time, and I usually ask them in front of their team. And I'll say, hey, and I'm in front of a restaurant, and I'll say, hey, honestly, I'll say, raise your hands. Does your manager or owner thank you every day? Be honest. I said, raise your hand. How many people feel that their owner or the leader on the team actually authentically thanks them every day?
What's the percentage of people who actually do it?
1%.
Wow.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah, it is. It's so easy to do when you think about it.
It's talk about low-hanging fruit. The most powerful 2 words in the English language are thank you. I had a rule, and I have all my clients have to do this. We call it 100% thank yous. You never leave the restaurant without walking up to everyone on your team, looking them in the eye, shaking their hand and saying, you know what? Hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate you today. I really appreciate all you did. And then if you know something specific, like, hey, Bruce, you really did, man. We had that huge rush, and you did a really great job taking control of the line, the team. And you really pushed him through it. I really appreciate you doing that, man. That was really awesome. How do you feel now?
Great.
You feel great, man. You feel appreciated.
Yeah. And that's the small things that people take for granted. Like that's so small and it doesn't cost you money. All it does is help you in the long run.
It just helps you, man. Just having an attitude of gratitude and just being thankful and appreciative. These people came to work. They got there and they're actually, they're doing what, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You just got to appreciate that.
Donald, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
See? I feel good amazing. Now. Yeah. Oh, I feel warm and fuzzy inside, Bruce. Thank you, man.
Seriously, though, I'm sharing that tip with my daughter because that's a great tip. And it's like something she just talked about getting people to take her seriously because she's young, she's not old. So it's hard for her. She's already stepping to she's already a little bit behind because people who are older tend to not look and take younger people seriously. But I'm going to tell her that. You know what? Tell them to do the checklist, and when they do a good job, really, really praise them.
And point a couple things out. I would say spot check them. Like, you hand me a checklist. Hey, Donald, I did the check. Hey, awesome, Bruce. Let's go check it out. And I do a couple spot checking of things. Hey, man. Hey, really, you did a nice job cleaning the doors of the cooler, but make sure we get those, the kind of the seals in there. You want to make sure we get in there and get the dirt in there because that's where the food particles start doing, and it starts eroding the seals. When that happens, that's when the refrigeration breaks down. I'm explaining the why too. Not just, hey, man, clean the doors and clean the seals. All right.
You know what, too? Sometimes when maybe even you throw in there hey, this makes your job easier. Like, why do it? Does doing this going to help you make your job easier?
Makes everything easier. Why do we switch up the pans at night? Just because I said so?
Right.
No, dude. Yeah, explain the why, man. Give people the reason. The biggest thing I learned when I was a young chef, and everyone, you probably know the story. I trained with my father. My father was like the Gordon Ramsay this time. He was just yell, scream, do it because I'm the chef and I said so.
Right.
And so when I first became a chef, that was my motto about how chefs act.
Yeah, same.
And I just yelled, screamed at people, just broke them down, build them up. I thought that was the way to go. And then I realized that, and of course, like everyone else, my turnover was huge.
Yes.
And I always had a reason. They weren't a right fit. They didn't want it bad enough. They weren't professional. They don't want to be here. That's them. It's them. It's them. It's them. No, it was me. I was an asshole. And then I started thinking, you know what? I never liked it when my dad yelled and screamed at me like that. So what would I started thinking, well, what was it like? What would I kind of be if I had to change my leadership style? And I started thinking about my karate instructor, my instructor I've had since I was like 12. His name was Terry Bryan. And he was, as an instructor, he always explained the why. Don't just punch because, hey, I want you to punch because, when you twist your hip, because you get this generation of power. And when you turn this stuff, he explained the why. And I felt like I owned it because I understood at the deep level what it was all about, the mechanics of it. So then I started thinking, well, what if I start explaining why we do stuff instead of just barking orders? And I started taking on this kind of coach kind of mindset. I'm going to instruct you and teach you and explain the why. And the thing I noticed is that when I stopped yelling, screaming, and actually started being appreciative and giving positive feedback, that was good. Hey, nice job. A little bit more on the sear, but it looks really good, And then I started, my turnover started dropping. And actually, I found people actually started coming to me because they heard, hey, I heard you really, really have a great, culinary team, and that you really teach everybody a lot, and they learn a lot working with you. And people started actually coming to me asking to work with me. It was a game changer.
Yeah. It reminds me of being a coach on a sports team.
Yeah. You can be the asshole coach, or you can be the coach who encourages people and you got this, man. Hey,
teach them why they're doing the way you want it to be done. And then they're going to have good results. And then when they have good results, they're going to feel better.
Exactly.
Are you teaching a session on this at your Restaurant Success Summit?
Yeah. I have one in the morning. It's called Lions, Tigers, and Bears, the mindset.
I love it. What other ones are you teaching there?
Oh my God. I'm doing a bunch of them.
You're probably you're probably doing 42 sessions at your.
I don't think I'm doing 42. I think I'm doing 6. There's 18 sessions. So day 1, I'm doing Lions, Tigers, and Bears, how your mind plays tricks on you. And then I'm doing in the afternoon, I'm doing leadership lessons of Attila the Hun. That'll be a fun one. And then day 2, I'm doing I'm doing the Art of War for restaurants, teaching how to use Sun Tzu's Art of War to lead better. And then let's see, day 3, I'm doing how to win the recruitment game. I'm going to show you actually how to actually win the group.
That'll be a popular one, I'm sure.
And then I have one on how to catch food cost thieves. And then that's it. I don't have that many this year. I'm passing the buck to a lot of other people. So
that's good though. Yeah, but you know what? You have a lot of good speakers coming, and they have a lot of good knowledge outside of what your expertise is, which is the best part about being part of these different groups and going to these different seminars, is because you get to see different perspectives.
It's always good. I love these small little sessions. Everyone gets a chance. Again, some one-on-one time with the speakers. It's not like those, you've been to those big, huge events. The speaker gets up there and then all right, thank you. And he's off the stage and then he's gone. You never see him again.
Or it's very generic, right? It doesn't really, you can't ask questions. It's very generic. It's a very generic session. And then it just ends there. I like the smaller ones where you can be like, all right, I liked what you said here, but what about this?
Yeah. And we always include, we always do each session's an hour. We do a 45-minute kind of, session. And then it's always a 15-minute Q&A.
Love it. Where can they go to find that again?
And go to restaurantsuccesssummit.com.
Yes. Happening in October. I got it right here. October 25th, 26th, and 27th.
In Scottsdale.
What's the weather like in Scottsdale in October?
It's 80 degrees. Beautiful.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's beautiful, man.
I would just go just for that. The seminars are the bonus.
The seminars are the bonus. And then you get your nights free. And then the nights here are beautiful. And we've got some planned events. We got a couple social events going out. We're going to a couple of really cool restaurants. It's a really great experience. If you've never been to Scottsdale, you'll love it.
I love it. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Bring the wife, right?
Yes, for sure.
Gotta bring the wife. She'll kill you if you don't bring her.
Dude, I don't know if we recorded this, but we were talking about it before we got on here. Mm-hmm. And she always wanted to go to Arizona. So this is it's a cool thing that we get to go. It's like a business trip, but you get to hang out in Arizona in October.
Yep. And it's a small event, so it's going to be, and we're going to, make sure we keep safety. We'll have sanitizers and stuff like that. It'll be really, really cool. Small event, not crazy.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it, Donald. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. As usual, don't hang up yet, but I appreciate you hanging out with me here.